Christopher Nolan's last film, Dunkirk, was a project that could have given us a traditional approach to the war film. Instead, we got a thrilling tale about survival and the human spirit. It's a film that, like Interstellar, has grown on many people over the years after its initial release. In 2017, it did, however, become the highest grossing World War II film worldwide and ended up winning 3 Oscars. But what makes Dunkirk a project that will last in film history is the tale and the way it was told. In this video, I'm going to be exploring how Dunkirk reversed what we thought about the war film, and in turn portrayed a compelling and tension-filled experience about survival. This video essay concludes my Road to Tenet series, where I have created content on every film in the director's filmography. But to stay up to date with all of my future content, including a review of his newest film Tenet coming this week, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoy this video, remember to leave a like rating. Without further ado, let's dive into how Dunkirk approached war. Throughout the history of cinema, the plethora of war films to come out usually consist of similar characteristics. Characters, though complex, are easily identified as good and evil, by which fighting force they align with. A coming-of-age story, a nostalgic or sad sentimentality for the era the film takes place in. These 3 ideas are the basic backbone of hundreds of war films. Some use these elements effectively and stand the test of time, while others fade away. Audiences see these ingredients used, especially in the 1990s, with films such as Saving Private Ryan, Braveheart, and Schindler's List. Films that go back as far as the 1940s also display these tropes. Exceptions exist, usually found in the grittiness of the 1970s with films such as Apocalypse Now. Though certain exceptions always exist, these films do possess 1 or 2 of the characteristics of the basic construct of a war film. In this regard, Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk is a game changer. To begin with, the film could have chosen to take a conventional approach to showcasing the events of the Dunkirk evacuation in 1940 during World War II. However, Nolan chooses to tell the Dunkirk story in 3 parts. By land, by sea, and by air. In his usual fashion, he interweaves the stories and plays with our understanding of time. All 3 take place in different periods of time, 1 hour, 1 day, and 1 week. More importantly though, the writer-director is not interested in showing us a history lesson. He would rather audiences experience the history ourselves. That is the major takeaway from Dunkirk. It truly is an experience, not just a film applying a particular timeline structure. This approach is a step away from the conventional thinking of a war film. Usually, the context of the battles are given to us, the backstories of characters are shown. Choosing that route usually ensures an audience connection with the characters and their tasks. In Dunkirk, there are no lofty speeches of home, there are no pre-battle connections, and there are no generals in boardrooms. Nolan gambles. He trusts that the audience will understand and know the specifics. He wants to understand the bigger picture of the Dunkirk story, and see that this film is not about a couple of buddies. Dunkirk shows us that this event affects hundreds of thousands of men. By not having the focus on certain characters, Nolan throws away the concept of character arcs. In theory, in a grander scope of this film, the ordeal these men or boys go through is a coming-of-age encounter. However, Nolan does not explicitly tell audiences that, nor show us. Our only time with the characters is in the context of the escape and the survival elements in Dunkirk. We do get a postscript in some context that shows the characters returning home. With that said, there is not enough information on screen to convey a coming-of story, a regularity in many war films. But war is a maturing event. It takes young boys and moulds them into men. These fighters are able to confront evils and inner demons. Sometimes those evils get the best of characters, but some overcome it. In Dunkirk, the characterization is kept to a minimum. The dialogue is kept to discussions about how to get off the beach, but the one glimmer of personality comes from Mark Rylance's character and his sons, who take their fishing boats to Dunkirk to help rescue the soldiers. Those scenes, at first while effective, seem out of place in Nolan's overall theme of humanity's survival. Those scenes are focused on the individual characters, and the audience is meant to emotionally connect with their difficulties. Those scenes are the only time we ever emotionally connect with any of the characters. There are no main figures in Dunkirk. The film consists of an ensemble cast. Nolan's focus is on the grander human experience rather than an individual's. We follow certain characters in each story, but the dialogue and connection for the characters is minimal. But you find yourself rooting for their escape off the shores because of the human connection with survival. This connects every human being to the event, and therefore the characters within that event. The enemy is also never shown until barely at the end of the film, but we know of the immense threat they provide thanks to Nolan's direction and his assumption that we know the specifics of war, especially World War II. He attacks our film's senses with the images he shows and the audio he uses. The attacking planes, gunfire, and soundtrack by Hans Zimmer convey the danger these men are in without even showing one human on the other side. Zimmer's use of the shepherd tone, which is an illusion of a constantly rising piece of music, helps to keep the tension throughout every moment in the film. Without any context, the audience experiences this terrifying ordeal through the point of view of the men stuck on the beach, the ships, and the planes. Again, there are no generals looking at maps, no home front, and no quiet nights sitting by the campfire exchanging stories. Nolan gives us little to connect with these individuals because he wants us to connect with the human story of surviving with the odds stacked against you. This is all part of the Dunkirk spirit, which as someone who's British, you completely respect that choice of filmmaking for this type of story. Whether taking place in an era where slavery existed or taking us inside a concentration camp, many war films show a side of sentimentality. Audiences experience this by how the directors showcase the era. In Schindler's List, director Steven Spielberg chose the film to be seen in black and white. Spielberg is not nostalgically looking back at the horrendous treatment of Jewish people during World War II, he is looking back with a sentiment of sorrow. His ending of Schindler's List is an incredibly powerful moment of this sentimental opinion. Dunkirk displays no sentimental feelings until its end, when returning home one of the soldiers reads a speech by Winston Churchill and are greeted with a hero's welcome. This emotional connection at the end of the film, however, is not tied to World War II specifically. Nolan does not mean to make that a sentimental connection to World War II, which is the complete opposite of Spielberg's ending. But he does want you to feel something, because the boys got out of an extreme situation alive. It's also moments like when Branagh's character cries as he watches the little boats sail over that all build up to this impactful moment. With his touch of realism, Nolan depicts war as brutal as ever. No kid after seeing Dunkirk would ever dream of playing war again. The film is brutal and an incredible 100 minutes of suspense. Dunkirk's greatest achievement is in its filmmaking. Nolan is a master at making you experience his films. He wants you as close as one can get to being inside the film. The sound is frightening, planes have never felt more threatening. The visuals are jaw-dropping, the scope of the beach, the ocean, and the sky is immense, which all brilliantly form the design of the Dunkirk logo. Overall, Dunkirk is a war film unlike any other, a full tour de force. What we can learn about Nolan's filmography from looking at a film like Dunkirk is that he wants to apply filmmaking techniques, narrative structures, and character approaches that completely fit and mould with the exact story or experience he's trying to tell. I'm very interested to see how he goes about approaching a film like Tenet through specific techniques, and I think his filmography and the response towards it only shows this kind of connection he creates between filmmaking and film audiences. Before I end this video, I just want to say that I've had a blast doing this series over the last 2 months, and I want to end by saying a big thank you to everyone who has supported it and wants to see this kind of content continue with other directors and also with Nolan in the near future. So thank you once again. But let me know down below what your thoughts are towards Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk and whether you agree on the points I have raised in this analysis. Later this week, I will be doing multiple videos on Tenet, including my review and breakdown of Christopher Nolan's latest film. To stay up to date with all of these uploads and much more, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like rating. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.